put me on the bed. And, this was all a struggle. So I had said no. And I said no, even though I was thinking that. And so it was the hardest. Yeah, this is too hard.
So it looked like they do a jump cut. Look like she couldn't fully retell the story because she's either getting emotional or kind of like traumatically triggered by some of the details. Okay.
A struggle. So I had said no. And I said no, even though I was thinking that. And so it was the hardest. Yeah, this is too hard. I remember he got dressed and he knew what he did. And so, I just kind of escorted him out the door. And then I wasn't going to do anything about it. Sometimes when you're with the person for a long time, it's hard for you to realize that they're being the perpetrator, even though you know it, you don't want to admit it, and there's so much going through your mind. But then he started coming at me. If I tell anybody, he'll use everybody he knows to destroy me, which he basically has. And then he started making other threats against my life, threats. He just was so worried that it would get out, and I wasn't going to do anything. But when he kept calling me at work, and when he kept, just very aggressively behaving, and I could see it wasn't going to go away, and he said he was going to destroy me and he was going to kill me, and he told me he was watching me and all that, I just went and got a protective order. I'd had enough. And unfortunately, shortly after, he doxed me and my address got out, and I had somebody stop by my apartment, which had a door that led right to the side. It was basically on the sidewalk. And somebody came up to my door and said, "Shut up," screamed it at the top of their lungs. And I had my daughter in there right there. And I was like, oh, no. And so I went and I dropped it, because also at my house, not my apartment, my house, at my house, somebody came to my house and sat out front in the driveway while my daughter was there alone. Someone came to my house, someone came to my apartment, and after my daughter called me, that's when I went straight there.
So after you rescinded the restraining order, was there any other weird stuff, or did it kind of just die down?
It died down. I tried to move on with my life. We may have talked, I think, once or twice. But then he started going on television. He came to my job, Turner Broadcasting, went on TV at CNN, and it was my job to put the videos from up to YouTube for CNN. That was part of my job. So I'm putting up this video, and here I see Shannon at my job talking about domestic violence, and the co-host mentioned that, oh, you had one that was just totally dropped, made it look like the police dropped it, not that I had gone down and withdrawn it. It created a picture that wasn't accurate. And that was a very hostile work environment.
I'm going to ask something that might be a little sensitive or might sound insensitive, I should say. But I'm going to go ahead and ask it because it's a question that I'm sure people are wondering. Why didn't you file a police report when he raped you?
Because I was scared for my life. He said he would use it, everybody he knows, and he knows lots of police officers. So I didn't know that if I went down there, that would be one of the people that he knows. Atlanta has a problem with corruption down there. And I was too scared to go to the police. Because when this happens, you're in a trauma mindset. You're not in a, every day you and I are talking here like, oh, okay, well, maybe I should do that. No, you're like fear for your life. You're traumatized. You're not thinking straight. You're having anxiety and panic attacks. And I was worried that he would you know, get a hold of this police officer, and who knows what would happen. And so it was just a decision, and it's a decision a lot of rape victims make, to not go to the police. They always say the woman is crazy. You know, hey, I might be at this point after everything I've dealt with. But back then, no. No. Definitely not crazy. And to see him paint me the way that he did, first off, I'm not somebody crawling out of the woodwork to talk about my connection with him like he insinuated in his statement. I've been out. I've been suing him.
What's your message to his latest accuser, who's been doxing? What would you say to her if you can send a message to her?
I pray for you. I have been there. I've been dealing with this for 15 years, so I know what you're going through.
Okay. All right. Now, my man Stephen A. Smith, he went on Big Boy, and remember I told you Stephen A. Smith was doing this in a very shrewd way. He was backtracking from Shannon Sharpe. He was criticizing him, not directly, but he was still criticizing him. He used trigger words. Oh, I'm uncomfortable with some of how Shannon Sharpe, he didn't really say Shannon, he said Shannon's lawyer. But if you're criticizing the lawyer is operating on behalf of Shannon. So you're basically talking about Shannon Sharpe. You just won't say it directly because you understand Shannon Sharpe has this cultural cachet still. And a lot of people within the audience that you enjoy the benefit of, that he still has, they don't believe that chick. So you don't want to just say, man, fuck Shannon, but you have them bosses at ESPN, and you're on that side of it, and also you got to be clean because you're going to run for president at one point, or supposedly. So it's only fitting that he goes on a cultural show, Big Boy, and now he's on Big Boy's show. He's now talking about Shannon, but it's a very different tone. He's now mentioning, I think some niggas was hating on Shannon. People thought I wasn't riding with Shannon, but I fuck with Shannon. And you're like, why you ain't saying this on your show that's pretty much backed by ESPN, the Stephen A. Smith show? Why when you were talking about what the bosses told you, why you ain't say all of this shit? Stephen A. Smith is smart. You get on a platform that only talks to the niggas, and then you say, I got my brother back. But when you're on the platform where those people in the suits and on the 60th floor who cut them checks, you'd be like, yeah, I'm uncomfortable with this shit. Shannon's lawyer is out of pocket. He's handling this a mess. And according to the bosses, Shannon had to step down. You know what I mean?
Bro, NBA players in a pro sport, and I'm a man amongst men. Don't take up for me, mommy. So now cut to Stephen A's doing his job. His job is to critique NBA players and the sport of basketball. And now here you are rescuing your son twice because you got him in the league when you knew.
I never went to Sierra Canyon because I knew if I walk in, I'm at a point.
Okay, you talking about LeBron?
Melo was pissed.
Conversations when that's more privy than what we could share. But when you saw this breaking out, what did you think as Stephen A. Smith, a comrade, associate, friend, brother, black man, everything?
It was important for me not to be selfish.
Okay, I think this is a Shannon Sharpe topic. Let's go there.
Is this what we do? Like, what's your, not position, but where do you think is everywhere? And Shannon Sharpe is doing I Love Club. Shay, I love everything, but god damn, man. When I saw this one, I was like, I remember someone told me years ago, and I brought it up earlier, the bigger you are, the bigger the target. And Shannon Sharpe, to me, is on his A game everywhere. And when I saw the 19, 20-year-old OnlyFans girl, I'm like, bro, is this what we fucking with? Is this what we do? Like, what's your, not position, but where do you think, what's happening now? And I know he's kind of stepping back from ESPN and gonna come back for football, but And you probably had conversations
That's cap. They ain't bringing that nigga back.
when that's more privy than what we could share. But when you saw this breaking out, what did you think as Stephen A.
PC Boy Bullet Gaming, thank you for the 5 gifted, bro.
Smith, a comrade, associate, friend, brother, black man, everything?
It was important for me not to be selfish. I'm not going to, of course, I've spoken to him.
What did he say?
I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you.
That's the last time he spoke to that.
But
nigga.
I feel about Shannon Sharp the way I feel about Ryan Clark, the way I feel about Marcus Spears, the way I feel about any of my teammates at ESPN. I mean, we have a great group of folks, and it's a genuine friendship with one another. And I got a lot of love for Shannon and getting to know him. I haven't known Shannon all of these years
Right.
the way that I've known the others. I've met him in passing and stuff like that. And then, we became friends once I went and got him and brought him on board at ESPN. And I'm very proud that I brought him on board because I think he's done an exceptional job for us. His effort was contagious. He never cheated us. He always came on the air, always ready, always enthused about performing and doing his job and making sure he contributed to the ratings, which he did in a very profound fashion. And I'm incredibly grateful to him for that. When I saw the story come out, obviously I was alarmed like everybody else. It's 9:58 on Monday morning. We got a show at 10 o'clock, and then the story comes out about the allegations against him. That was very alarming. I didn't know until 2 minutes before the show. And so when you dealing with something like that, it takes on a life of its own. And on one hand, you got to be very, very sensitive to him from the standpoint that he is profoundly claiming his innocence. But then in the same breath, you're looking at the stuff his lawyers put out, and you like, that ain't helping.
Yo, I hate that Stephen A. keeps saying that. Yo, Stephen A., let me tell you this. Today, chat, you want to know what my day consisted of today? I had to talk to my dog body attorney. I had to talk to my other attorney. I was on the phone with lawyers for 2.5 hours today, bro. It's not fun. They brought up every single thing. They look out for me. Everything they bring up, you know what they say? Academics, what do you want to do? My lawyers can't do nothing without me telling them. I paid them. Matter of fact, after, you know what hurt today? After we had a great call, which, like, these days, I'm always thinking about attorneys. I got the best attorneys for. So I'm thinking about, I'm like, yo, so we're on like a group call, it's like 3 of them. I'm like, well, each of them are charging like $1,000 per hour. And I'm looking at the time and I'm like, I'm paying $3,000 for this call. This is fucking crazy. Anyway, trust me, don't get rich and famous. That's why. I'm telling you, lawyers, I love my lawyers. So I'm on the call and whatever we're dealing with, issue after issue, just whatever, they'll ask about, they're almost like damn near general counsel. Like, hey, do we need to handle this? Do we need to handle that? Do we need to handle this? So-and-so, like the next phase of, I'm already paying these niggas. The next phase is, chat, I need y'all to compile a list of any nigga who's called me any illegal name that I could sue for defamation. I got to get some money off of some of these rich niggas. Not the broke niggas. Any rich nigga who said something out of pocket, I need to start suing niggas. I ain't gonna hold you, bro. Anyway, after that, they're like, yo, hey, Ak, we're about to get off the phone. I'm like, good call. Great call. Let's do this next Monday again or next whatever. And right, I'm about to get off the call and be like, hey, we're gonna have so and so, which is their like assistant. They're like, they're gonna hit you up, and they're gonna send over the thing to get another retainer. And I'm like, oh, bruh, the retainer is like a hella money, bro. Like, my nigga, paying lawyers is never fun, my nigga. And they're like, yeah, that should cover us for the next like 2-3 months. And I'm like, how much thousands? Trust me, chat. Never fun. But I only say that to give y'all real context, because I'm paying lawyers out the ass. My lawyers don't get up and do some shit and be like, oh, Ak, by the way, this is what we did. Fuck no. Nigga, I'm paying y'all hundreds of thousands of dollars. They do what I want them to do. They ask me, do you want us to do this? Now, they give me their professional advice. But if I say no, they ain't doing it. So when I hear Stephen A. keep saying he doesn't like what Shannon's lawyers are doing, I have to say, Stephen A., Stop being a fake nigga for 1 second in your life. You're criticizing Shannon in a bitch nigga way. Shannon Sharp is paying his lawyers. They don't operate without his consent. They sit on calls like I sit on calls with my lawyer. If I tell my lawyer, could you draft me a statement? You know what they're going to say? We got this PR company. We'll get them a part of it, and we'll work with them to get you a statement, and you can tweet it out. That's how it works. They don't say we're just putting out a statement for you. It doesn't work like that. I'm the fucking client. I pay the money. I tell them what to do, and they give me expertise. That's how it goes. So when you criticize the lawyers or you criticize the move of the lawyers, you criticize the move of your mans. So I don't know why Stephen A. Smith keeps sitting here and playing dumb. You're criticizing. You're just trying to. And I'm telling you, Shannon probably. I guarantee Shannon stopped talking to this. I guarantee. I put money on it because this fake nigga shit. You got no criticism for Shannon, but you're criticizing him through his lawyers. His lawyers work for him. They're going off his advice. So what you should say if he was a real nigga, I ain't gonna lie, I don't know what Shannon doing, but that would make you fake. In reality, I think Stephen A should be like, yo, Shannon's my mans. I'm really caught in a really tough position because I work at ESPN. I'm cool with all the bosses. I'm kind of like a quasi-executive. I don't want to talk about this. I got a no comment on this until I find out more information. That's a real nigga shit to do. Hit him with a no comment. Nobody say you got to back up freaky ass Shannon Sharp, but no comment it, bruh. You putting your 2 cents in and you criticizing his strategies, it kind of make you look like you doing the little rig around sucker move, bruh. Anyway.
And then you're looking at
This is my sixth.
what you know about Disney. See, that's where I come in.
Now, this is another problem with my man, Stephen A. Yo, Stephen A, is very clear you're more of a company man than a friend. Bro, it don't take they don't like, are they paying? I know they're paying you a lot of money, but they're not paying you to specifically go talk about Shannon Sharp, my nigga. Just don't comment it, bro. Let them go to ESPN PR to go get whatever statement from ESPN. Why the fuck is you talking about it but you're not even backing your mans up? You're kind of low-key even saying, yo, this shit making me uncomfortable. I don't know what's going on with this shit. I hope it ain't true, but this shit kind of is weird. Bruh, shut the fuck up. If you ain't gonna talk about it, be like, yo, I ain't gonna lie. If you gonna talk about it, this is how you should talk about it. Hey, I know Shannon, and from what I know Shannon, this don't sound nothing like him. I looked into that shit. That bitch looked like she lying. That's it. Or you could take the layback approach. Man, I don't know what's going on with that. All I know from the time I knew Shannon, I don't think he has an anger problem. You could speak to some of these things because that's what they're trying to build up. They're trying to build up this idea that he has this anger problem, that he snaps and he's choking white. Nah, you could, from I know him, he don't got no anger problem. I've only seen him deal with the PAs and the executive producers and the producers on our show at First Take, the women with the most tremendous care and love. You could speak to his character. You don't got to speak on the case and just get out of there. When you over here talking about his strategy, you know why Shannon Sharp and his lawyers are doing that? They thought that at one point the bitch was going to put out a fucking sex tape where he's choking the shit out of her and donkey fucking her. The nigga's like 250 pounds. He probably stuck so much needles and steroids all in him. This is why this nigga look like the fucking Hulk. It's never going to look consensual. That chick he was fucking, she's 120. He's 260. Muscular as fuck. There's no way, even thinking about it, it's going to look crazy. So they thought the video was going to come out, so they were trying to jump ahead of mad things. By the way, that's another thing, too. That's what I'm like with Stephen A. doing the fuck shit of criticizing his man's lawyer. Bruv, look at what just happened with Fat Joe. Fat Joe about to get sued. They're trying to say Fat Joe is fucking 16-year-olds. Like, I hate to even bring it up because I think it's cap. But here's the thing. You know what Fat Joe lawyer did? Fat Joe hired Joe Tacopina. That's the nigga who just got Rocky off of that shooting case. You know what they did before the lawsuit even came out? They sued the nigga who repeated the bullshit that Joe did that, which is a former hype man, and they sued the lawyer that's going to be doing the lawsuit because they were cooking the shit up trying to defame him. And so they jumped ahead of it. The strategy, and the people just seen Jay do it. You jump ahead of this shit. You meet it head on. So, like, when I'm hearing Stephen A., who he's still talking on a soapbox like, yeah, you know what ESPN will never have to worry about? Me being in those situations. All right, great. You are the guy who was you walk around like Jesus. You have no issues and you'll never ever be called to the carpet, even if it's false. Got you. But the lay of the land and people who believe they're innocent or people who are trying to put out these fires, they're trying to be proactive. They're trying to meet these things head on. They're trying to be aggressive because we've seen what happens when you shut the fuck up and then these people just get to say thing after thing after thing. People just believe you and they call you Diddy. So when I hear him criticizing his man's lawyer, I'm like, yo, what do you think his lawyer's just like doing their own thing? You criticizing your man's. Like, Stephen A., either you're going to be a real nigga or a fake nigga. Or you're going to be a company nigga. I think you want to be a company nigga. It's no way Shannon Sharp still talk to him. I guarantee it. I'm telling you.
You know about Disney. See, that's where I come in.
Once he said that, I'm like, just look at his face when he said it. Now you're talking about Disney.
Because none of these cats have worked for Disney as long as I have. And is as familiar and intimate about the inner workings of Disney and how they think the way that I am. And so I'm now imagining what Disney's going to ultimately do. So although I was hopeful that it ultimately would not lead to him being off the air, I knew it wasn't going to go down like that because I know Disney.
Right.
And so, again, I can't say all the things that I've heard, all of the things that I know based on my conversations with him and my conversations with the executives. What I do know is that he has emphatically and profoundly proclaimed his innocence from a legal and libel perspective in terms of, not assaulting or raping or doing anything like that to anybody. He is emphatic that he is innocent of those things. But the court of public opinion is what the Disneys of the world and others concerned themselves with. That's a more immediate issue. And unfortunately, that has worked against him at this particular moment in time. So I'm hopeful this will all go away. I'm hopeful that I'll have my brother back on the airwaves talking football next season. I don't know if that's going to happen or not because we don't know what else we're going to learn and what Disney's going to be comfortable or uncomfortable with or anything like that. But you also have to remember where the relationship really originated in terms of he and I. He was pushed out at Fox.
Yeah.
And I know there were folks there that wanted that to be the end of his career, and I wasn't going to let that happen because I remember how folks tried to do it to me in 2009. And I was blessed and fortunate to be a brother in a position where I could do something about it, where I didn't have that luxury of having that.
I ain't gonna lie, Stephen A. Smith he's a company man. I will never call him a snake because I think he's made his intentions and his POV very clear. But even when he's talking about Shannon, and Shannon is in a fight for his life, you see how he brought the conversation around back to him? But yeah, I did help this nigga out. Like, kind of patting himself on the back for helping him out after the Fox situation didn't work out.
That's somebody there for me like that. And so for me, anytime you mention him now, you're thinking about me to some degree because I brought him on to ESPN and that just elevated his profile and assisted in Club Shay Shay, Nightcap, and all of that being taken to another level. And so knowing that, that's why I felt...
Fuck no. Stephen A., I love you, bro. But fuck no. Club Shay Shay and Nightcap was lit. Like, if it was this lit before he went on First Take, it was still this lit when he got on First Take. First Take ain't make Shannon more lit. What are you talking about? Nigga, I don't even really watch Shannon on First Take. Nigga, we watch Shannon when Shannon doing his own bullshit. We like Unc.
It was important to go on my YouTube show, my podcast.
Yeah, I don't know. What are you talking about, like, First Take? Like, you see, this is what the problem is when niggas live in that TV linear land for so long. You think that, let me tell you this. Somebody got to tell Stephen A. Shannon Sharp helped y'all. Y'all didn't help him. The only thing y'all did was give him a badge saying you're a ESPN First Take co-host. That's it. But that meant nothing. He brought more to the table. The nigga was lightning hot. Nigga was hot as fish grease.
And so knowing that, that's why I felt it was important to go on my YouTube show, my podcast, the Stephen A. Smith Show, and just let everybody know I'm not here to speak of innocence or guilt from a legal or a civil situation. That's for them to handle or whatever. I know the brother tells me he's innocent. I believe him.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But most importantly, I'm his friend.
Right.
And that man has done, he's helped me immensely. It ain't just me doing for him. He's done for me as well in terms of his performance and his dedication to his craft and how he's helped us in terms of the show itself and how he helped us continue to explode. And I'm incredibly grateful to him for that. And I know that he does not trust easy and that the honest conversations that he's had with me, he wouldn't have with just anybody. So I'm going to honor that, and I'm going to make sure that he knows and that everybody knows that no matter how things go down, not to say that he would rely on me, but if he ever chose to, anything that I can do for him as a friend, I will do.
The court of
Cap. You know what he wants you to do as a friend? Is stop saying the weird shit talking about his lawyers is making you feel uncomfortable. How about you say, man, we don't believe that bitch. Or shut the fuck up. We don't need a You see, remember Shannon says he was going to be open. His lawyers told him shut it down. And he agreed. Oh, I'm going to shut it down. Right? He don't need you. You have to realize these stories, the biggest people in the world that could talk about this story other than Shannon is Stephen A. And Stephen A., if you're not a staunch advocate and a supporter and a defender of your mans, what you're talking about on these platforms about Shannon Sharpe and that issue is only hurting him or just not helping the case. If you're not defending him, I'm telling you, do more favor to him by shutting up. Just don't say nothing. Because no one else's opinion matters about this other than Shannon, and he stopped talking. And then the person who is his co-host on ESPN, which we knew ESPN was probably going to make a move. You. So if you ain't going to just back him up, just shut up. You don't got to say nothing. Just sometimes you could be like, yo, listen, man. Shannon, I'm cool with Shannon. Man, I don't really know what this other stuff is. I'm going to let everything figure it out.
Public opinion is a lot, bro. And it's crazy because you'll hear, the shakedown, the $10 million offer, the $50 million lawsuit. And I always tell people, I say, man, if they say we're going to give you $10 million, we're going to give you $50 million, or we could lock him up for 5 years, what do you think that person would choose?
What do I think the person would choose? Which person? The person being accused?
No, the person that says they put old girl. Mm-hmm. If they say, we give you $50 million, or we can lock him up for 5 years, what do you think she'll take?
$50 million.
Right. So this, and my thing is this: I don't fault any victim, but that's why some people don't come out when things are happening as well, because there's a lot that goes on with somebody either trying to get a check.
Right.
And this right here, as soon as I saw Busby was her attorney and all this kind of shit, I was just like.
And we saw what the situation went down with Diddy and Jay-Z when it came to Busby as well. And
right.
So, listen, like I said, none of us really, really know. And it would be really irresponsible to get into the minutia of it all because we just don't know. But in the end, when you see the details that both parties let out, it certainly seemed consensual to me. But, I'm not the courts. I'm not whatever. So I can't really touch it because I'm certainly not trying to get sued.
Right.
But I will tell you that, again, to see the great things that he has been doing and to know the potential is out there for all of this to be derailed. I'm incredibly sad for him. I'm sad for us as a show because we're better with him than without him. But right now, it's just about him getting his house in order and doing what he can to get past all of this.
This is the 7th or 6th?
Listen, we all have friends that found themselves in various predicaments throughout our life. And you can look at somebody and even if you take issue with their choices and what they've done, you can still sit up there and look at them and say they're a friend, and it means the world to them.
And this is the time.
And it means the world to them. And so for me, all I want him and anybody to know is that you ain't gonna see me excoriating him. You ain't gonna see me disrespecting him. You're not gonna see me stripping him of my support. I can tell you what I think you right and you wrong about, right? Getting your ass about it, and then turn around and say, okay, how can we help you get back past this? All of that comes with friendship. And I think that true friends conduct themselves that way. They ain't yes people that tell you just what you want to hear. They ain't no people that's willing to vilify you to second something. I mean, I see cats talking about him, and I can't even put into words the shit I've seen them do and heard about them doing, especially in our business. And so it's like you just, and then I see the zest with which people are willing to pounce on him. And it's like, listen, people have been after him since he did Cat Williams. You know, they've been at his neck because of the numbers he produced and the success that it had and how he was able to ride that wave. Now, once again, that's separate and apart from all of this. We get that part. I'm not talking about what people are talking about and what they have to talk about. I'm talking about the zest with.
Yo, Stephen A., I'm gonna say the quiet part out loud. They think you probably felt the way too, because Shannon was the draw. Like Shannon is you know, I seen somebody say it recently. ESPN and First Take gets numbers. ESPN and First Take has limited cultural impact. Shannon Sharp's IP and properties like Uncle or Club Shay Shay and Nightcap, they are impacting culture, which that's what First Take doesn't have right now. Some people felt like you was looking over at what Shannon was doing and what he brings, maybe not like in a crazy uptick in numbers for ESPN, but you want to have that cultural impact that he got. So when you see like he get knocked down a notch, this is your time to kind of like, what the fuck is Stephen A. Smith doing on a press run right now when your man's is going through the, like, what is he promoting? Because somebody tell me. What the fuck is he promoting? If I'm going through the toughest time of my professional career, I don't want my partner in crime on a show, no pun intended on partner in crime, going on a press tour talking about what I'm going through.
With which they do it. If I sit up there and I'm friends with Big Boy, I'm a contemporary colleague with Big Boy, right? And then Big Boy get in trouble. It's one thing for me to be on the air and going like this, yeah, you know, I mean, this is what happened to Big Boy. And it's another thing in time to be like, yeah, you see what happened to Big Boy?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? It's like, you know, you just see that, and you see a joy that some people are having in going at him, and that's sad. You can talk about it, but we know the difference in terms of the flavor that you're bringing to an equation where you're talking about somebody with glee and joy in your voice when when you're talking about the kind of predicament they find themselves in, and that's what I have a problem with. So for me, it's just about making sure that he knows, and anybody that knows how I feel knows that he matters to me, and I want him to be okay.
Man, thank you for sharing that. I want to go a little rapid fire with you.
Sure, I'm good.
Okay. All right. Somebody said, fuck it, just call whack. No, we're not calling whack today. Oh, you want me to give you a whack update? And so, because even like Sharice texted me today, and I ain't really respond. She texted me her video. I will say this, and I don't think Wack told me this in secrecy, so I'm just gonna be like, Wack made a personal call to me today, expressing some things that I won't mention, but some seriousness around some things happening with the loose cannon situation, maybe some possible legal or whatever. And he asked me, he says, Ak, I'm asking you as someone who, you know, I would have your back and I want you to have my back. could you not indulge in this loose cannon whack debacle anymore? And, you know, the details of what he told me to kind of support that goes neither here nor there, and it's not for me to share with y'all. But out of, you got to have some loyalty and some respect as in terms of friendships and things like that. And I also usually think about these things and imagine if I made that request, would you want somebody to honor it? And, I think my one caveat was, wait, are you going to still entertain it? Because if you're telling me it's that serious and that there are these entities and it could escalate or whatever, and I'm good to let it go. Now, I don't know if Wax will let it go, but I would hope that he would as well let it go. But he asked me, he called me today very early. I remember he called me like 11 o'clock in the morning, and I said, damn, Wack is up at 8 o'clock on the West Coast? And he made that request, and when he told me about how serious certain things could get, are getting, I obliged. I actually agreed. I said, it's done. I'm not trying to, because I've always said this, I'm not trying to do content on things that could get somebody incarcerated or get people hemmed up. I was always wondering why people who are putting themselves at risk of incarceration or other things would do content on those very things. So just for the record to show, Wack did call me, say, Ack, could you please ease up off of this thing? There's a bunch of things happening, and A, B, C, D, and E that could escalate things. Could we leave this alone? And I agreed. So just to let y'all know, and by the way, y'all could clip this, and I think I should courtesy wise text Sharice and let her know, like, hey, listen, with all due respect, I've just been informed that whatever y'all got going on, and I don't, I'm very cool with Wack, but I just hear it's at a level that I don't want to be involved in. You get what I'm saying? And that level would constitute more arrest, indictments, law enforcement, all these other things. And I'm like, I'll check out at this point. Okay. And I've always said this. Remember when I was saying about the whole thing with when I was saying, yo, Wack, did you talk to police? I said, Wack, if because he would get upset when he would talk to me on stream and be throwing ad hominem attacks. I always said, Wack.
So Shannon Sharp is being sued by Jane Doe by the same man that has a case against Diddy or try to put a case against Diddy, Jay-Z. Honestly, from what it's looking like, Tony Busby only goes after successful black men. Like, okay, let's say even if they're wrong, like from the outside looking in, he literally only goes after successful black men. And I don't know if it's like a personal vendetta or what he has, but amen. It's not a I can't really give my personal opinions, but it's crazy. I hope this isn't true. I don't see this case really going anywhere. Like, cases like this is really only for headlines, so it sounds crazy. And like, I feel like with a lot of black people, you're guilty, like, and then proven innocent. You're not like proven innocent until, like, you feel me? Till you go to court. And this headline just looks so crazy. And like what Axe said, he has $100 million deal on the line. Of course they want to get him out of here, bro. Or lower the deal or something. I don't know. But it's your boy Big Act News. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and pray for the best for your Shannon Sharp, man.